money.
If you think that the nuclear family is the backbone of society, okay, do you think that?
I would say having two parents present is the backbone of society. I wouldn't necessarily say one has to stay home. I would think that it's better.
Well, it's optimal, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I
Optimal
mean, if
one
you're
stays home.
going off of what's optimal, if we look at the society in which the nuclear family was most present, definitely the men were in charge of those households.
I don't think it has to be that way, though.
Okay, maybe not, but they definitely were.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be
Okay,
that
but
way.
even if not, can you acknowledge that they were?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
that worked great.
That was how history was.
And
yes.
that worked fine.
I disagree. That didn't work
What?
fine.
What? So then you don't really believe that the nuclear family. You just want what you want is some kind of bizarre equality family.
No, I agree I believe in a nuclear family. However, it only works if the parents who are leading the family are
You
both.
mean the father?
No, the parents.
No, the father.
Whatever. Are both well-adapted, adjusted individuals who are emotionally mature and respect each other equally. If that's not happening, then your nuclear household is going to be a toxic household where both parents are just fighting all the time. And
you keep
the
on
children wanna
conflating
leave.
this idea of leadership and respect. This is very strange. So when you say respect each other equally, right? What do you mean by that?
I mean, respect should be going both ways.
Yeah, I
don't know
get
how
that,
that's
but I'm not
confusing.
sure what you mean by equally.
Like, how you expect her to respect you, you should be respecting
Like,
her.
for instance, let me give you just a quick, easy example.
Okay.
Say a man gets home from working and he walks in and his wife is leaned over a stove and he gives her a nice open palm smack to the ass, right? And she goes, "Don't do that." And he goes, "Shut up." And he goes and he sits down and he drinks his beer and blah, 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 right? Next day she comes in, she does the same thing to him, right? And he goes, "Don't ever do that again," right? Is that the kind of equality you're talking about?
I think in your scenario, if the husband properly respected his wife, if she said, "Don't do that again," he'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother
Right.
you." And then she wouldn't do that.
Okay,
right?
so then if they have a financial dispute and he says, "I want the money to go here," and she says, "No, I want it to go here."
He's making the money, so I think he should probably have the say. If they have a child dispute, I want my child to go to this school. You want your child to go to this school. I think
Got
she
it.
should
So
have the
she
say.
takes over the children and where they go to school, and he makes the financial decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
they
so
could
then-
probably make those decisions together.
So
to be
she
honest,
gets an
both of
inheritance
them.
from her mother of $100,000. Does he get to decide where that goes?
No, that's her money.
No, that's her money, right? Well,
He's making the money. That's why he has to say. She's
yeah,
raising the kids.
right,
That's
right.
why she has to say.
That's her money. Why isn't it his money?
Why isn't the one money that he's making her money?
It is.
It is.
It's
It
literally he's
absolutely
literally
is.
taking care of
It
the
absolutely
entire
is.
family with it.
Okay, then why doesn't she get a say over it?
What do you mean? Because first of all, he can go to his wife, and you can say to your wife, you
It's a
know, or
matter
she
of
can
respect.
come
Like,
to
what are
you
these questions?
with these various issues.
If you're with somebody and you're talking to somebody and you genuinely respect them, if they get $100,000 from their parent, you're not going to want that money. And if they respect you, they're going to want to share it with you regardless.
What if
right?
you do want the money?
I mean, if you want the money more than you care about them as a person, then you just need to work on
Well,
yourself.
I don't understand.
know.
If you want to keep the money more than you care about your spouse as a person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Respect needs to go both ways.
Well,
they
if
shouldn't
it goes,
expect to get the
but-
money,
but
and the other
nobody's
person
saying
should
that
share
the respect doesn't go both ways. But what we're trying to get to is if there's a dispute in the household, there's only two people. One has to make the ultimate decision.
Yes, but if two people
So
are
who
working as
is
a
it?
team, it's not necessarily so spiteful, right? There doesn't have to be.
I'm not saying it's spiteful nor adversarial. I'm saying someone has to make the ultimate decision. Which
Why can't
one?
they make it together?
Because they fundamentally disagree on something.
Okay, so give me an example of what they fundamentally.
Here's a
disagree
great
on.
example. So, husband says, "I want the kid to go to a Christian school. It's 20 minutes further." Okay, and she says, "You know, in the morning, I don't want to drive the extra 20 minutes." And he says, "You know what? It's super important to me that he goes to a Christian school. It's part of the faith of the family. I need you to do this." And she says, "No, I don't want to do it. It's too much work." Something like this, right? Who's the tiebreaker?
I mean, that's like unreasonable. Obviously, she's going to take the kid to school, right? Like if she's putting up a fight because she doesn't want to take the kid to school because it's just too far, like that's a little bit ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Okay,
She
now
doesn't
he
respect
says
her
he says
husband.
I want to take our investment savings and start a business, and it's risky. It's mitigated risk, but I still want to start the business anyway so I can follow my dreams. Does he get to do that?
Yes.
I definitely think they should make that decision together because if he fails,
But they can't agree.
Yeah, well, if he fails and he does it anyways,
I know, but they
she's
can't
definitely-
agree.
Okay, so if they don't agree, he obviously can do it anyways. But if he fails, you understand she's
Yeah,
going to hold it against him.
I understand he can, but what I'm asking about is should. So what I'm saying is if
Yeah.
if a person, if they cannot agree, they can't agree in this context, They're fighting about it. They're worrying about it. They can't figure it out. Somebody has to be the decision maker. In that case, do you defer to him?
It depends on the context, is what I keep
I just
telling
gave you the context.
Right, so in that context, yes, you defer to him. If he fails, it's on him. You can blame him for it.
But it does affect you, right?
Of course it's going to affect you.
Okay, so I don't understand where the equality is then.
What do you mean? We literally
Well,
just
if
went
it's
through-
always just a
you gave
deference
me
to the
like
man,
17
where's the
million
equality?
different examples in
Yeah,
which
I'm trying
we
to test the
deferred to
logic.
different-
Yeah.
It depends. It's a nuanced thing, right? A lot of these are nuanced. You have a very basic and collective take on everything. It's like all men are this and all women are this, and this
I'm
is
not
how
giving a
everything
collective
should be.
take.
When the real world is very gray, it's nuanced, it's mixed with black and white. It's not a very like this situation should
So
be
then
all
how
the
come when I
time.
give you nuanced takes,
I'm-
by
I-
giving you nuanced
I gave
hypotheticals,
you-
you complain?
I didn't. I just gave you
So
answers
then-
to
so
all
then-
of
so then
them.
back to
Literally,
this.
I'm so happy this is recorded. Every single one of them I gave an
Yes,
answer to.
well, this is true, but this comes to our ultimate question then. I can't figure out then what you mean by equal.
Equal means they work together. They respect each
Yeah,
other.
but if
equally.
ultimately it just comes down to the man makes the ultimate decision,
That's not ultimately what it comes down to.
then how come every example I give you it does?
Because that's not what happened, right?
It is what happened, right?
It's not what happened.
E-
In every
Can you
example
give me the
gave
scenario where you said the woman makes the choice in any of the hypotheticals
Yeah,
I
in the
gave you?
hypothetical where you slapped her on the ass and she said she didn't like it. There you go. She
You
said she
didn't. You
like
didn't say
it.
defer to her either.
I said you should listen. She didn't like it. She
Yeah, you said
"Don't
you
do
should
that
listen,
again."
but not the deference. What I'm asking is who makes the ultimate decision?
What's
Is it the
what's
man?
decision
Stop.
then?
Is it the man or is it the woman? Every example I give you it seems to defer to the man.
Depends on the context.
Yeah. Well,
what should
then
my
give me the
child
context
wear?
where
What
the
should my
woman
child
should.
wear to school today? Should we put him in the red shirt or the
Mm-hmm.
blue shirt? Oh, I don't know. The wife will make that decision. What should we eat for dinner today?
Yeah.
Should it be pizza or should it be lasagna or should it be I don't know. My wife will make that decision. What should the house be done in this way or should whatever
Mm-hmm. So,
blah blah blah. I don't know.
let
The
us
wife will
assume
make that
for a
decision.
moment that he tells her, no, we're not having lasagna tonight. Should he be deferred to?
Deplorable dude
That's like,
donated
what do you-
$199.
Hold on.
Not a simp, but prefer progress over the unintelligible cackling status quo. Anyway, panel question. If a family loses their home, does that look worse on the man or woman? Maybe reason for hierarchy?
It's worse on the man.
If the family loses.
Interesting.
He's asking like if it goes
If
into
a family loses their home,
foreclosure?
does that
Yeah,
look
foreclosure.
loses their home?
I guess he's saying like if a man
What he's
loses their
trying,
home, is it the man's fault
he's
or is
trying to
it
Well, if she's a
establish that the
stay-at-home
man
wife.
is the head of the household
Yeah,
because if
if-
they lose their home, people are going to say that's the man's fault. They're not going to say, oh, the wife failed the family. They're
But
going
if
to say the
she
man
was
failed
like-
the
Very
family.
nuanced and situational.
If she's drunk on a Tuesday and she lights the house on fire, probably her fault.
Yeah, definitely her
Probably her
fault.
fault.
Absolutely. We can all
So anyway, I just want to finish this exchange real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, in context, when the man inside of the nuclear family has a fundamental disagreement, when you think he should defer to the woman, and if he doesn't defer to the woman, right, is it worth breaking up the household over the fact that he won't defer?
So you're asking me what exactly scenarios he should defer to the woman?
No, I'm asking you inside of the scenarios where whatever they are that you believe he should.
Okay.
Because you're like, they got to be equal, right? Shit, the lasagna is her responsibility. He needs to shut his mouth, right?
Yes.
That on that lasagna, but
That
he doesn't want
lasagna.
lasagna. He doesn't want lasagna. He's more of a spaghetti and
Yeah, but
meatballs. Hang on,
she's-
hang on. He's more of a spaghetti and meatballs guy. More of a spaghetti meatballs guy. He's like, no,
Okay, well, she wants the lasagna.
no.
But she wants
Yeah, I know,
lasagna.
but he says no.
And she's
She can
cooking
do
the
both.
lasagna.
Yeah, I know, but
No, she's not cooking both.
but he
She's
walks
cooking
in.
lasagna.
He walks in. and He says, "Well, then fine, no grocery money for the fucking lasagna."
If she
Okay,
didn't
what are
work
we doing?
and
Are
he
we
worked
like are we
all
trying to
day,
hold
she
things
should
All I'm
against
trying
each
to
other?
figure
Food he
out.
wants.
I'm trying to figure out ultimately, right?
A relationship doesn't work when you're trying to be like you do this and you do this and I'll do this. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
should
not.
be a
I'm not
dictatorship.
disputing
It
this.
shouldn't be.
But what I
agree.
am saying is
Dictatorship
that
all the way.
if you come down to a tiebreaker, you have to have somebody who is
Yeah,
the
I just think
decision
that it
maker.
depends. If it's the woman cooking the meal, and she wants lasagna, she should be the one who's making the decision.
Mm-hmm.
If he's making the money and he decides he wants to go gamble his money away and risk it on a business and whatever, he's the one making the money.
I think
right?
the man has the ultimate say, personally.
So
when
you
it
think
comes
if
down
she
to a
wants to make
tiebreaker.
lasagna for dinner, and he wants spaghetti, she should make spaghetti.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did he work all day
Why
and she
shouldn't
was at home?
But why shouldn't he or she
But
make
also,
what he
but also
wants?
on a case-by-case basis, a good man is not going to come home and see that his wife has slaved away making lasagna and say, throw it away and make me spaghetti.
absolutely.
A good,
But if you
respectful man
ask-
probably wouldn't do
That's
that.
not what we're saying,
True.
though. We're not saying that. What we're saying is
But
ultimately, all I'm trying to get at is that inside of a relationship, you do, especially inside of a marriage, there are going to be problems that come up where there's going to be perhaps irreconcilable differences on decision making. It doesn't mean that a person can't consult you or you can't consult them or this type of thing, but somebody has to make the ultimate choice between the two of you.
Right. I just disagree.
Don't you think that that should be the man if it's a nuclear family dynamic?
No, I think it still depends on the context.
Okay.
But like they said, ideally, if you're marrying a man anyways who's going to be respectful to you, then it doesn't matter, right? Like if you can treat him however he wants to be treated, and he'll give you the energy back because he loves you too, right? And then you'll get everything you need because you're being a good husband and wife, I mean whatever, and she's being a good wife, right? But if he's being toxic and he still wants her to submit, then I have a problem.
Yeah, but that's a subjective metric for toxicity, right? So like the things that you would consider toxic would be basically anything that you just don't like. Right?
Not true.
What do you think
what would be
toxic? Controlling
personally?
behavior would be toxic.
What do you think? What?
Controlling behavior would be toxic.
Yeah, but controlling
Insecure
how?
behavior.
Like, what's an example of controlling?
Like you tell your wife to make spaghetti when she wants to make lasagna.
Why would that be controlling? It's just a matter of your preference, right?
Yeah, but if she always makes dinner, let's say every single day, right? And then she wants to make lasagna one day because she's really craving lasagna, and you're like, no, you're gonna make dinner. It's like, what is she?
So
Does she just
where
exist
do
to
we delineate
make-
between preference and control in this sense, right? If your husband doesn't want you to go with a guy, is he being controlling?
No, that
Okay,
makes sense.
that would be an enforcement of preference, right?
Yes.
So where do we draw that line?
It depends on whether you're being.
It's subjective, right?
No, not really.
I think God
Then show
draws
me
the
where.
line.
No,
Yeah,
the
show me
line,
where.
The line is based on like your behavior, right? If a woman is being very, very promiscuous out and about, and then a man, her husband, says, "Don't do that," that's fair. I don't think
Wait,
he's
can
being
I- can I give you an
insecure.
Yeah, but
example.
you're not telling me where that line is between where it becomes controlling and where it's no longer controlling.
The part where it's controlling is when you're telling her to do something that no longer impacts you as a person, but
Your spaghetti impacts you.
that doesn't really impact you.
It does really impact you.
Come on,
Well, hang on.
you're
Let me
being a
say
baby.
this. Let me say
Right?
this.
That's my
Being a
whole
baby.
point. It does.
doesn't really impact
but hang
you.
on, but it does. But this is a point. If
I
we're
mean,
going
like,
from
impacts
the
you
limited,
emotionally, like, it
if
gives
we're
you some
going from
trauma
the
or something.
limited amount, well, that makes no sense though. That's because we're engaged in conversation. We got hours of this. Relax. We'll get over
Well,
there.
I know we're all about to leave though. Like none of us are feeling it.
Oh God. Fine. We'll move it on.
Sorry.
Please and thank you.